He's got a connection to the outside. Opening this up. We're about to start rolling, so going live. And yeah.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
Live.
Ruix 2.0, episode 8. This is an exciting one, guys. And we're both just sitting here making sure our newly formed hair wings, Hasselhoff style, weren't sticking out of our hats.
Yeah. Don't get the glare off the top of my head.
Right. I'm John Eagle. This is Ruix, and my guest today is none other than Denny Garcia. How are you, my friend?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I made it here. I crept up on stage here. I've been using a walker lately because I was a little compromised in my mobility over the last few years, really. But hey,
sure,
I'm getting around.
Well, jump in on that. How's the health lately? Let's start
the
there.
Health is pretty good. I determined to just get better. Things that kind of held me back a little bit. I broke a leg and lost a toe and got beat up here and there, and but I feel good. I quit drinking except for this one Guinness here I have that stares me in the face. But
yeah,
really, I've been trying to be good to myself and survive my 75th year.
Good, man. Well, it shows. You look great and happy. When was the 75th?
End of April 27th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple months, 4 months ago.
I'm a 49er. Like Harry Truman was president when I was a baby.
Oh, nice.
No more bombs, please.
That's not Ike. No, Dewey, right?
That was.
I'm sort of remembering, like I'm getting
Harry
my history
Truman,
mixed up.
Harry
Yeah.
Truman, yeah. He was.
Dewey defeats Truman was the big headline, and obviously that wasn't
but it
true.
Was wrong or
right?
Something.
Yeah.
So we're dipping back. Yeah, we're dipping back to the beginning.
So let's start with the Truman presidency. Let's. What did you think of that administration? I'm just kidding.
Let's skip all.
But let's start at the beginning of the Denny Garcia story, man.
Okay.
So, I've known you most of my life here in Dubuque.
Yeah.
My brother and I have been seeing Mississippi since I was a little guy, and solo shows. What's the story? Where's it begin for you?
Well, it begins, in my hometown. I was born in Mason City in 49, and my folks were from there. And my dad was fresh out of the Navy in WW2, and Mom was a young, beautiful farm girl, one of 12, south of Mason City and on the farm. And they met when my dad got out of the Navy and fell in love. And my dad got in a fist fight with her boyfriend at the time and won her over. And they were great people, and I miss them. But yeah, we moved down to Iowa Falls, and Dad worked for the Northwestern Bell Telephone Company, and he was a line man. And then he worked his way all the way up to the top of the whole thing. And Mom, we had a record store in Iowa Falls that we took over from an old couple, and so. Music became a big part of my life. It always was, and records and stuff. And Mom played the piano and violin and stuff. But the cool thing is we got this record store, and I just got to put all the fresh records on the shelves. Yeah. I could go to the post office, get a box of new records, releases every week, and so I'm putting the first, Bob Dylan, first Gordon Lightfoot, first Frank Zappa, first Neil Young on the shelf.
Wow, I had no idea there was a record store in your history. That's great.
Oh yeah, and it was a great little record store. It was down subterranean. You go downstairs, and it was a little basement kind of shop, and they had all these shelves for records and albums, vinyl, 45s, and we sold some record players too and stuff like that. But it was a neat thing. My dad had a little workshop in the back too in the spare time and electronic things. But then we had that music store for a long time, and I really got to see all the fresh releases, and that's what piqued my interest as far as, boy, there's this whole scene out there I just wasn't seeing any of in Iowa Falls. I mean, I had to leave town in order to pursue my interests as far as that, but I'd gotten a guitar from a friend of mine that moved to town, and he was already a good guitar player, and him and his mom moved to Iowa Falls, and I got my first guitar from him, and Actually, I $4 and a pair of old Beetle boots I had. I traded them. I still got that old guitar, but that's how I learned my first chords and stuff like that. So, very humble beginnings as far as I had to teach myself out of a Mel-based songbook about
Sure.
chords and whatnot. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I just took off from there and kept learning chords, and sooner or later put two and two together and sang along with everything, and you know, have fun with it, you know. And
Yeah. Were your parents like? Did they play music too, or just had the
Mom
store?
did. Mom did.
Mom
Dad, he loved music, and he always came to hear me play here and there eventually. But Mom was good at the piano. She could kind of barrel house and do neat stuff. And my grandfather, her dad, was a old farmer and a fiddler.
Okay.
And I never met him, but they had 12 kids on the farm south of Mason City in the Depression, and so.
Is that me? I'm so sorry. No,
Really
that's not me. I think that's you.
Oh, geez. Well, ding, ding.
It doesn't matter. You can keep
Yeah.
it going.
So yeah, life was simpler then in
Sure.
a way. But yeah, worked a lot on farms and stuff, and then we had a place in town that was, you know. But I always liked going out to the farm and working, and then eventually we got a farm out there. But really, music just came along full force. It was a happening time back then, and Beatles got fresh on the scene, and
Sure,
all
yeah.
the original stuff that you hear about, and you know, great times, you know.
Do you think that growing up, you know, sort of like going to the farm and like kind of working on that stuff, sort of informed the way you write songs?
Oh, definitely.
Over the years, yeah.
Yeah, everything you live through in your early life, I mean, it creates impressions in you. And I used to go out under the full moon or something, take a pad and pencil and paper, I should say, out under the moonlight, and I'd sit out there in the dirt black field and I'd write some poetry or something, just what would come to me. And,
Totally, yeah.
And those were some of my first little things that turned into songs eventually. But you got to start somewhere, and I always had a little poet living in me, and
Yeah.
I'd write things all the time, just on napkins or paper or whatever in my books, and I read a lot, you know.
Yeah. What were some of the things that you were reading back then when you were starting to get, you know, sort of more involved in writing poetry and songs and
Shakespeare.
Stuff like that?
I read a lot
a
of Shakespeare, yeah. And
I have a hard time with Shakespeare. I love it, you know, like, but it's just so hard to read for me.
It
Like
is.
you know, like watching a play is different. But
that wasn't anything easy about it, but I admired the guy's expressions and
Absolutely.
and you know, just the way people talk versus the way they talk now necessarily. It was a better use of language, and I
Yeah.
admired that as far as choosing your words more carefully and expressing yourself the way you really feel and mean, and don't just degenerate into cuss words.
True, yeah,
That's
yeah.
really easy to do too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and I read a lot of different things. Science fiction, you know, Ray Bradbury. Oh gosh, yeah, I could spend hours just rattling off authors, but
yeah. that's-
I tried to read everything inside. I read a lot besides, you know, studying, and I was an all right student. I wasn't brilliant, but I went out for school plays and stuff like that. And
So you're an actor too, then.
yeah,
Let's hear
and
about acting, Denny.
acting. Well, I had a great friend that came to high school from wherever he came from. Him and his mom. This guy, his name was Chuck Bowman, and him and I just became great friends. And he was already into acting,
Okay.
and we landed the lead roles in a number of different plays. One of my favorite, well, Mrs. McThing was kind of a just kind of a joke of a gangster humorous play. But one of the best ones we ever did was Inherit the Wind, which was about the Scopes monkey trial back in the 30s.
Right.
And so it was a really hot setting. We did a whole courtroom drama, and I was the defense attorney. I played the part of Clarence Darrow, and my buddy Chuck played the part of William Jennings Bryant. And we were friends, but we were rivals in the play, you know. And,
gotcha.
and
Don't be afraid of that mic, too.
it was, sorry. And it was an intense play, and I had to memorize the whole thing. And so did Bowman, and the rest of us, you know, did our lines and everything. But it was well done. And nobody had ever seen a play like that in Iowa Falls. And we pulled it off, and it was great. And we got a standing ovation every time we did it from the town. And I'd never experienced that. Like, wow.
Yeah,
I guess they
performance
liked what we
bug.
did, you know.
That's
and,
when it starts, right?
Yeah, and you get the bug about how much fun it is to perform up on a stage for people, whatever you're doing, whether it's acting or speaking or once I started to learn how to play music, that was a whole other deal to get good enough to do it in front of people and not be nervous and fall apart.
Yeah.
But,
Did you have stage fright early on?
Not really.
Not really?
The plays got
I
me
never
over
did
that.
either, really.
The plays got me over that. You know, once people showed you that they liked what you were doing, I just felt good about it. It was not a nervous thing at all for me, I guess. But yeah, one thing led to another, and I don't know. Those are tumultuous times too. Into the '60s, let's say. I graduated high school in '67, and
Okay.
then everything was happening. You know, I mean, Vietnam was staring down all the young guys, and you know, you had to figure out if that's where you're going,
Right.
you know, or if you're going staying in school for a while and all that. And I don't know. I tried it all, but you know. I thought I was going off to war. And,
You did? Okay.
And, yeah, I definitely thought it. And I went down to see Albuquerque and Santa Fe for draft physicals and stuff. And that was pretty intense, you know, to do that and not know your fate for 6 to 8 months until they told you. But I don't think they liked me too much because I told them what I really felt about everything. And but I support, you know, soldiers. I was never one of those people to, you know, foo-foo people coming back.
Of course.
You know? Soldiers I totally respect, and, you know, a lot of nasty stuff went on no matter what, and it's hard to put that in words just, you know, now. I mean, it's amazing kind of times, but brutal times in America, too. People had to come to terms with how you felt and what you thought and what you did about anything, you know.
Did a lot of guys you know end up going over there and coming back?
Oh, many, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of changed.
Well, I guess one
know.
thing that kind of turned me around as to my attitude towards Vietnam was about 3 of my really good friends. They were the toughest, badass bullies I knew in high school, and they were good guys, but they were just not.
Yeah.
You know, you had to kind of watch them. You know.
Sure. Yeah. Ruffians. A little bit.
Yeah, but I hung out with everybody, and okay. I remember those guys coming back. They'd been in Vietnam 2 years, I guess, and they came back, and they were just changed individuals. I'd never seen such a change in people I knew that I grew up with, and. They said, Denny, man, we got to talk to you about what's going on over there. And they told me the truth, I think, you know, about, and I don't need to go into all that right now, but no, they pretty much said it just not the thing. It was not a good thing.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So just leave it at that. But I respect all those guys, and I know a lot of people that went through total hell or didn't make it back, too. But those that do, I always supported and did music for the gatherings and stuff to support the POWs and stuff. And
yeah,
I could spend hours talking about just that. But anyway, yeah.
So late '60s, you get out of high school, and this is kind of what
I
you're
went through a year
facing.
of college in Cedar Falls. And,
Cedar Falls. Okay, you're not so far. You're not even. You haven't. There's no Dubuque yet.
No.
You're not here yet.
Well, I've been through here numbers of times because we traveled over this way and crossed the river numbers of times. I had friends here and there. And,
okay.
But, yeah. Dubuque, I saw it when I was a kid, you know. I remember going over the bridge and going over to Rock Island or something, see one of my buddies or something. And, but, yeah, you want to know how I got to Dubuque?
I do, yes.
Well, skip a bunch of time here, and me going out west to the, Berkeley, San Francisco, and
Well, we don't have to skip anything. Tell the whole story.
I want to tell everything. Yeah.
Tell the Berkeley story.
Well, let's see. Around all that time, I'd been to my draft physical down there, and then they give you 6 to 8 months before they're going to tell you what's going on with you. And so I said, well, I'm going traveling. Mm-hmm. So I hitchhiked and I walked, and I went from Iowa to Colorado and hung out in the mountains, climbed the mountains, and did yoga by the mountain streams. And
awesome.
I learned a lot of things out there as far as just how to survive on my own. I mean, when you're a kid from Iowa, and you're out on your own, it's different than, working your first jobs and everything. You got to be out on your own and deal with people. And it was different, changing times then a lot, and hippie days and the skirmishes between the rights and lefts and all the stuff that still goes on today, it seems.
Sure, yeah. Oh, nothing's changed, really.
But I had fun in the mountains. I hiked and climbed a lot of mountains and got into healthier diets and kind of just rebuilt myself and felt a lot better, And from Colorado, I said, went out to California, and then I was out there for quite a while in the Bay Area doing all sorts of things. I ran a health food little restaurant out there in University in Shattuck, and what was it called? Great little health food restaurant. And then
you ran it?
Yeah, and I did everything there.
Okay.
I made juices and yam banana pies and cooked and did a lot of dishes. It's just a little cafe.
That's cool.
And but then eventually I got out of there, and some people wanted to go to New Mexico, and I had the Volkswagen bus, and said, well, I'll drive you guys down there to New Mexico. Mm-hmm. And I had a great time. I went down there, took some people down there, and I just had fun in a whole other land. New Mexico was just a beautiful whole other environment, and I loved it down there. Something in me is part of my ancestry or something in my native kind of blood. And, New Mexico was really good for me. A lot of apricots and...
They're gorgeous, man. When I was living down in Colorado, I would visit there a couple times a year just to get away, and oh man, there's no place like it.
Yeah, and apricot trees, and I intend to go back. I got some friends out that way.
Nice.
At least one, I think. But anyway, traveling was a big part of everything. And then, out to California, all around that area. I did that circle a number of times. Came back home to see the folks and my sister and stuff. And back and forth. I was just had a traveling bug because I thought I better cram a lot of traveling in before I'm going out to Vietnam or something. And might be the end of the road. I was totally accepting of that. This might be it,
Sure, yeah.
Better live it up, Dennis.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Like,
it was decisions
any
for
day it could
guys
happen.
That age. We had to think about it. Most just went blindly into it without thinking about it necessarily, and it's okay either way. When you get down to it, but. I'm glad I thought about it because a lot of them now bet say, geez, Denny, I wish I would have done what you did because, what I did over there really sucked. And they have to live with it for all their life. And so whatever cards you were dealt, it's just the way it is. You have to live with it,
Yeah, of course.
And I got a friend out in Oregon right now that I'm in touch with a lot that's he's originally from Cedar Falls, and his name's Tony Ogden, and he's one of the most amazing survivors. He just turned 79, and him and his wife Hattie live out there on the Oregon coast. The reason I'm telling you this, he's one of the most erudite and articulate former soldiers that I've ever known, and anybody knows. I mean, his writing, he'll go off on a long thing about what he did there, or the dogs he's had since he got back and all this stuff. He's an amazing storyteller.
Okay.
And I'm telling about him just because I just got a lot of reassurance that this guy survived just the total hells you can ever imagine.
Of course, yeah.
And he's still out there and telling people what it's like for him and what he went through. And his poignant stories really get through to people. I've seen him just bring people to tears, bring me to tears. And but it's the real deal. I know he's not bullshitting. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is. Anyway, all those years were the most poignant years in a lot of ways. But time goes by, and you travel and you meet other people, and you go to different lands, and it was just a great adventure.
And you're playing music this whole time you're
I
traveling?
learned how to play music. I always had a guitar with me and my harmonicas, and that was my traveling kit. You know, a dog was optional. It was a backpack, a dog, and a guitar all the time, and harmonicas. And I learned how to survive with a little tool bag there, and write my songs along the way. I always was writing stuff on napkins and paper or whatever I could find, and inspiration hits in the funniest places.
Absolutely.
But you learn how to put that tool bag together and make use of it. And then I learned how to, play on the streets, play in front of people and crowds and coffee houses and anywhere.
You did a lot
The
of
drop
busking,
of the
did
hat.
you?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's how you really get after it.
Sure.
If you're a folk singer, you got that thing in you, poetry, and you want to express it through music. Mm-hmm. You just got to figure it out and do it, and then mess it up a whole bunch of times, and then all of a sudden those songs all smooth out, and you know them well, and you feel good about what you're doing, and you can keep doing it over and over, and keep getting new stuff out of yourself, and you feel yourself learning with other people. But I got to go through amazing times. Like out in Berkeley, I was one of the original young long hairs to start building the People's Park, which I just saw on the news here that they re-tore it up or something. But we were the first freaks to lay down sod and make playthings for kids to play on, and plant trees, and read up on the history of People's Park in Berkeley in '69, pretty much. And I was there, it was this muddy lot that the university had, and nobody used it, so we just took it over. Yeah. And but Reagan was governor at the time, so that went on for a while where we just had a great time. I should turn this off or something.
Please.
But Reagan sent in the National Guard overnight one night, and they put up a chain link fence over everything, and armed guards around the whole perimeter of this People's Park, and tore up everything, killed all the puppies, pulled up the trees.
What?
It was horrible.
Killed all the puppies.
Oh, there was people with puppies there. Yeah, I don't even want to describe it.
Oh my God!
But that was the end of the People's Park, and in the morning you got up and there was this chain link fence around the whole thing with armed militia, guarding the whole thing, and Reagan had sent him in there to get rid of the hippies and take that piece of land back.
Jesus
and
Christ.
Destroy any evidence of those people being there. He didn't like the freaks. And so anyway, that was I saw America changing there as far as divisions and splits. I think today is bad. It was that was the beginning of a lot of that kind of thing. But there's always been dissension in America. But
of course, yeah,
it's the beauty of it. Here, I'll throw this for.
I've definitely,
So anyway, aside from all that, California, I mean, I came back to Iowa, and you got to love Iowa because I grew up in the middle of the country, and I felt like home all the time when I was in Iowa, and I grew up working on farms and everything too.
Yeah.
And gathering eggs and slopping hogs and you name it. But you see a lot of world in between your home and where you go traveling and then come back.
Yeah.
And my folks were getting older, and I don't know. I always tried to stay faithful to seeing my folks and my sister and stuff. And anyway, time goes on, and I kept traveling for a while. I went from Colorado with a guy out of the Navy in a big old school bus and some of his friends from New Mexico, and we went north up through Idaho, through the Peace Arch, up into the Banff, Alberta area, and landed there. And we started just playing guitars in the parks and everything, and wherever we stopped, we'd draw a little crowd. Just the guy I knew, he sang pretty good, and we both played guitar and stuff together. It was just a folky thing that we could play a bunch of songs and move on.
Yeah, for sure.
Pass the hat or whatever, and we were just making it on a wing and a prayer, But we went from Banff, that southern Alberta area, over into British Columbia, which is, I'd never seen such a magnificent land of mountains and incredible scenery and God's country in a whole other way, a wildlife, bears and elks and caribou and everything, snowy owls and amazing birds, and the mountains were bigger than any Rockies I'd ever seen, and so British Columbia changed me a lot,
Lots more stuff to write about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vancouver and places like
And
that.
whereabouts was it? Like what year are we talking?
70 to 74, I was in
77,
British Columbia. I'd gotten my letter. You're wondering about the draft board. I got a letter saying I had a 4F, and I didn't expect that. I thought I was gone, but I don't think they liked me. I don't.
What is 4F? That just means you're
4F
not.
it means you have a deferment.
Okay.
Permanent
Gotcha.
deferment, pretty much, from that.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So, no, I'm just what I am. I'm glad I didn't have to go. I've had sometimes misgivings about, I wish I would have gone no matter what,
Yeah. You were ready to.
I was ready.
were ready,
And I was
you were
willing.
re-
And I put myself there. And
Yeah.
I said, hey, take me if you want. And I said, I'm a good shot, but I don't want to kill anybody.
Sure.
And I was muscled by the MPs and everything. They didn't like me. But, I stood up for what I believed in, and I feel good about that,
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
a lot of non-vets today, they thank me for sticking up for my rights, I guess. And so, but I'm no better than anybody. And I've tried to lead a good life as far as being good to other people and dogs and pets. And
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Wildlife seems to like me, I'm a bit of a whisperer. But
Good.
what else? Ask me something.
Okay, so when does it, like everybody that I know knows you as, sort of this legendary musical presence in Dubuque. When does it start for you in Dubuque, where you start,
Okay.
Mississippi and the solo stuff and
this
just
is
doing
a
shows around
good
here?
part of the adventure of Denny. Let's see. I lived up in Wisconsin for a while. I got hired by a band with Howard the guitar, lead key, and a bunch of other great guys out of Eau Claire area. And they came
love that
down
area.
to Cedar Falls, where I was painting houses with Rushy Cleveland and the paint crew down there and a bunch of other people. And this band showed up at Cedar Falls one night at this country bar. And they were there for like a week or two or something. And I discovered them. Somebody said, hey, you ought to go hear this band. So I went to this thing, and they had a gal fiddle player that had just gotten pregnant. And so she was going to have to quit the band. And so we played twin fiddles for a bunch of different times. And then she had to quit the band because of her situation. And so they Maydayed me and said, do you want to come up to Eau Claire and play with the band, and go on the road all around the Iron Range in Wisconsin and Minnesota. So I said, yeah, why not? I had a girlfriend in Cedar Falls, but she said, man, go for it, It's a chance to play in a band every week and earn a living. Yeah. And so I did that, Nels Tiller Band, and that was a great time. Met so many great people up in Eau Claire and that whole area.
Sure, yeah. You're in your 20s, 30s here?
Yeah, 20s.
20s?
Yeah. See, I turned 30 in New Orleans in 79, so...
I was 1, just for reference.
And that's good.
And I still had heard of Denny by then.
Yeah. The Wisconsin scene was really good, and I met so many great people and got to play a lot. And I was playing every week a lot and earning a living. And all of a sudden, you just get better, doing your instruments and stuff and singing and coming up with material and whatnot. But it was a good band. And then there was some other bands, generic bluegrass, and we played ripping bluegrass and concert type stuff. And let's see. Well, I just met a lot of great people, and then.
Jesus, that time it was me. Sorry about that.
That sounded like the beginning of what was that? Anyway,
that's my reminder to take my vitamins. So yeah, that's the kind of guy I am. Go on.
Yeah, and okay, let's see. Yeah, my buddy Piano Bob had come to Eau Claire. He was from Barrington, and he was a great guy. One of my best friends ever. Great piano player, and I'm playing on stage at Stone's Throw up there in Eau Claire with the band I had at the time called Vern and the Roadhogs. Vern and the Roadhogs was kind of just 5 guys who are just rough and tumble, really good guys. And
country bluegrass stuff?
Yeah, country bluegrass, blues, our original stuff that I wrote, and other stuff. But so it was Rush Cleveland, me, Billy Krause, and Chuck Roll, and various drummers. And we made that work, though, and that was a great little band. But anyway, I was on stage that one night, and this guy, Piano Bob, comes up to the stage and looks at me and looks at the rest of us. He says, "You guys know any Grateful Dead?" I said, "Well, yeah, of course." And so we launched into that, and that guy and me became best of friends for a while. He had just moved up there with his people, and great piano player. So we did a lot of things, and we built this place called the New Deli, GNU Deli, in Eau Claire there on Galloway Street. And, we made that place work. We hung a PA in there and a good piano. Built a stage, and it was a delicatessen, too, so the kitchen was in the window.
Okay.
And had some great bunch of food, and I made hot sauce there by the gallon every month. I'm talking 4 gallons of hot sauce, mild and really hot, lava red.
Red.
So yeah,
still got that recipe up here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to make $1
later.
million on that, but someday, maybe when I'm older. The New Deli was a big hit for a while until the town fathers thought we were a little too radical, and so it ran its course, let's say. And I got out of Eau Claire when we had weekly performances there by the greatest folk singers in America. I mean, Dave Van Ronk and Sally Rogers, Claudia Schmidt, Randy Sabine, Jim Post, on and on. Incredible people. And we made that place work. And I put a lot of time into it. I painted the whole thing and built stuff, carpentry, and anyway, that was a few good years there. And out of that place, too, I met this guy named Larry Long, who was the head of the Mississippi River Revival, which was going to take on the chore of trying to clean up the Mississippi of garbage along the banks and garbage in the river and just garbage, stuff that shouldn't be there.
Right.
And so
it's a tough job.
I went up to the headwaters to Lake Itasca. I had an old ambulance at the time, an old 69 Oldsmobile ambulance, big blue and white, Ghostbuster-looking thing, and meat wagon. Anyway, I went up there, and I got a canoe from this Indian I met up there in Headwaters, and I canoed from Itasca all the way to Bellevue that year in the summer of '84.
Okay.
That's when I really met Dubuque full face, and on the way down here, in Trempealeau, I met Pearl and a bunch of other great people. And they said, "Denny, why don't you come to Dubuque? And we need a guy like you." And I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but well, we did concerts in every river town, from Itasca down to Bellevue, and then further south too. But that was a great a life-changing bunch of things to do, and I felt good about environmentally taking care of the Mississippi River and other rivers. And then we started other chapters, like for the Cedar River and other rivers,
Right,
tributaries.
like the
you know,
tributaries. Yeah, sure.
to clean up all rivers and take care of them, and
Okay.
teach people that, get your act together, people. Don't leave garbage out there and by the side of the river. I mean, pick it up. Pick it up yourself, and don't be a slob.
Don't
You
be a
wanna-
shitty. A shitty. Don't be shitty.
Yeah. And it was really poignant times, And but by the time I landed in Bellevue, well, for a while there, in those times, let's see, I'd been playing fiddle and some guitar with Joe and Vicky Price, just for $10 a night or something like that. I just love to play with those two. 'Cause they're just some of my favorite people ever, and they still are. And but we had a few ups and downs, but nothing major, And but great
As
people.
friends
Anyway,
always do.
yeah. And but that was right around all then, and somewhere along then, I was up by Lansing or something. But I met Mississippi Band was playing up there in one of the places, and
So this would be Dave Cricket.
Dave and
Who was,
Cricket
who was making up the band back then?
yeah, Dave and Cricket and Jay,
And Jay.
yeah,
The OG 3.
yeah, and somewhere along the line, well, I guess they heard me down in Bellevue when I was doing my folky solo stuff and playing with a few other people. Raldo Schneider was there, and well, the Bellevue Festival was really neat because that's where they heard me and decided that I'd be all right if they asked me to come in the band, in the Mississippi Band. So Cricket chased me down on Central once in his vehicle, and I was riding the old ambulance and chased me down on Central and said, "Hey,
Wait, you had an ambulance?
yeah, that's the meat wagon I was telling you about."
Oh, yeah.
It was quite the rig. Yeah, it was people would notice that. Yeah, it was a good adventure. But they said, "You want to maybe try being in this band for a little while and see how it goes, and if it doesn't fly, that's fine too." But I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a whirl." And well, that was '84, so go figure.
Seemed to have flied, or
Well,
flew, I guess, for a little while.
Yeah. Well, they're great guys, and we're friends, and we could make music together at the drop of a hat about anything, and anything I had, I could just do it. And
Amazing.
we absorbed each other's repertoires, let's say, and I don't know. We had a lot of ups and downs here and there, but I think we survived it all, and we pounded a lot of road, and I call it play for thousands of people, for thousands of gigs for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And but no, we've made the best of it, and I love those guys, and we're still at it. I mean, we just played down the street here the other night, and we got gigs.
On this stage, like a couple weekends
we were
ago,
just
right?
here too, right?
Just here,
as
yeah.
we are sitting here.
Shithead, I
And,
missed it, but
yeah,
I'm going to be at the next one.
No, it's a great band, and we've all done different things, with different people and stuff. But the core of that band is just a good, solid four-piece, and we all care about each other, and we got over any difficulties that we'd had at the time. There's always going to be ups and downs in any band situation, but really, we've made the best of it for a long time, and I'd say each one of us worked out any difficulties we had with each other and everything. And
What was at the heart of those? Anything major?
The heart of what?
The difficulties, like.
Well, I could put it in a nutshell. Mississippi had quite a reputation for a long time of being one of the area's premier bands. And things.
For sure.
And, just a good band, fun bunch of characters, and country rock, doing the whole thing, big versions of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching Mississippi. Like I said, we were talking before the show that, like I moved to Dubuque, I think in 88, 87, something like that. And since then, like that was like the one band that I knew, like they're always playing, And I loved going to see you guys like at the places that I could go, like I couldn't get into a lot of bars then, but
Yeah, we're in everybody's scrapbook,
Exactly, yeah. But you were always playing at like Eagle Point or, the parking lot of the old Uncle Ike's or whatever,
We played everywhere.
We played everywhere. That's true.
Why 4x8 sheets of plywood were our main stage. Sometimes we were playing down by the river once, and a storm come up, and we're standing on 2 sheets of plywood, and all of a sudden I call, "Hey, look, boys, the headwaters are starting right here under our feet." It's a stream forming, and so we've been in a lot of soggy situations, but no, we're still at it, and we've all done different things. I mean, they've had the Mississippi String Band as a 3-piece with be Cricket and Dave, and another good friend of theirs that just passed away recently, Dale Beeks.
Dale, I had those 3 on the show, the first iteration of the show.
Yeah, we did the big anniversary here,
one.
and he was here with us. And
I didn't realize that about Dale.
He passed away, and it was a sad deal, because we've all lost friends along the way, a lot, and some of us just live longer or something, but Fudgy was there on the beginning of the Mississippi Band. He was the guy that pretty much got it going in a lot of ways, and he's good at graphics and the stuff too, and silk screens and all that. But just a great guy and a singer and all that. But he is gone now too, so a lot of living goes down around musical configurations, and I don't know. I guess we just all do the best we can and have as much fun as possible without hurting ourselves too bad. But we're all a little punchy here and there. I mean, we've all been through our injuries and tough times and whatnot. But
absolutely,
we've bounced back, and they helped me get my stuff in. Because I can't carry a whole lot right now, and I'm either on walking sticks or
right.
I don't know. I'm doing the best I can, but. Anyway, I guess we all help each other is what I'm trying to say. And
definitely.
Past the point you realize how much you do care about your fellow people that have stuck with you, and you stick with them for why? Because it just feels good, and it's something to do, and it's a good thing. It's a positive thing in this crazy world that we're living in. And so anyway, we've made a go at it for a long time, and we've all had different things to do too. It's been a good role. When I found a place to live, 9/11 come along in '01, and Dubuque was kind of just freaking out. All the gas stations everybody's freaking out because it was a situation that nobody knew what was going to come down the line. It was freaking. And so I went out to Mud Lake. I just wanted to get out and go see the river for a while. Well, one of my best friends lived out there already, him and his wife and 2 baby boys. And I found a little overgrown cabin there next to them. I said, "What's at that place? It's got my name written all over it." Yeah. I just wanted to be by the Mississippi River. I wanted to be there, and that was going to save my spirit, And we made it possible that I could live and take over this little cabin, and I've been working on it ever since. But it's been home, and I love it out there.
Mud Lake's beautiful.
But so we just did one of our Mud Lake Bluegrass festivals this last Sunday.
I was going to say, so you're involved in the sort of creation, or at least the organization of that, right?
Well, I moved out there, and see Jimmy Z. He used to work down in Nashville with Bill Monroe, the father of bluegrass, basically, and he worked with Bill for a number of years, and was his main road manager kind of guy and booking kind of guy, and traveled with Big Bill all over the country, into the White House and all across the seas and whatnot. But pretty much looked over Bill Monroe in his last and final years, and brought him to Dubuque.
Amazing! I didn't know that.
And
he was staying in Dubuque for a while. I'm a big fan
No, he
too.
brought him here for some performances. And
Oh,
things,
so
but
okay,
no,
gotcha.
No, Bill lived
Not
down
like
in
to
there.
live.
And, yeah, he's from Rosine, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So the bluegrass thing was. I was bitten by bluegrass years and years ago, so it's just one of the things I love to do. You know.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a fiddler, and it was in my blood. Let's say, gene pool thing,
Absolutely.
melodies from the gene pool. But so we got the bluegrass thing going. We put our heads together, and I bugged Jimmy. I said, let's do something that nobody's ever done out here in Mud Lake and put it on the bluegrass map. He's real good at just organizing all sorts of things, and he can run miles around me as far as that. But I got the music, too. And
For sure.
I knew a lot of people that could play and had connections all over the place for this. And during that time, I got together the Midwest Music Makers radio program on KGRR.
Yeah, and you did that for many years, right?
Steve Hemmer. We did that 10 years every week. Didn't repeat a program. I wrote every program out on paper, out of my brain, and then I brought in music that was maybe coming through town here, different bands and people and whoever, and just got everybody. Sometimes bring them in the studio and have interviews,
I love that show, man.
The Midwest Music Makers made a good impact, I think. It was an honest idea as far as something I always wanted to do about bringing in musicians that were traveling through and displaying them and getting them heard on the radio and doing something different than regular playlist stuff that you hear everywhere across the country, you know. I mean, no, let's do something different, you know. And we did it. We pulled it off. And so it did its own little niche, you know, niche. So that was a good phase. All that, I'm just saying, helped me bring the concept of music in this town. We were all in it together, you know, and all the people that wanted to perform and play music live, it was just a good rallying point to get people together and, hey, this is okay. We can do this, you know, find a way. And so the local music scene really grew exponentially a lot.
I would agree.
We started a jam every, I guess it was Sundays at Jimmy B's down in Romberg. And we'd gone to Jimmy B and said, let us do this, see what happens, you know, an open jam. That was one of the first real open jams in this town that really happened and took off, you know.
Interesting.
People were coming every week. We'd pack that place, and people were dancing on the tables, and different musicians coming through, and great times, you know.
Yeah.
And,
I think that's probably around the time you met my brother, my mom, Deb, you know.
Yeah, your family.
I was cool. I was a little too young then, but
no,
I always heard about the Jimmy B's days, and I went to it when it was Easy Street years later.
I painted that building too.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I wore my arm out, and I got what they call a painter's elbow there for a while. You know, I couldn't. I said, I don't want to see another paintbrush again for a while. Anyway, those are good times. I think the open jams really showed people that there's talent almost in everybody. They can do something. All of a sudden, harmonica players were coming in, or other guitar players, or horn players, or singers of all different varieties, and. It reminds me of, back in the Cedar Falls days when we were painting houses and everything, and Rush and me, we've always been great friends, but there was this old guy in Cedar Falls, him and his old wife. They lived there forever, and he was, his name was Eddie Bowles, and Sarah, who was his wife, and Eddie died, he's way over 100 when he finally passed on, but...
Wow.
He was a guitar player. He said, you know, Garcia, I put the guitar down for 25 years once, and I thought I'd pick it up again. And he was nothing but old, but he says, I'm not a black man, I'm a colored man. He says, because I go, okay, Eddie, describe that a little bit further. And he said, well, I got Native American Indian in me. And he was, you'd look at him and his face would kind of change like the bark of an old oak tree or something. He was just amazing, good-looking old man too, and he grew up a few miles from like W.C. Handy and some of these other old blues cats that were famous at the time. But they came to Cedar Falls, and he settled down there in this little tiny house in North Cedar, and he'd spit tobacco juice in this can. He was a character. We'd take him to the Cedar Falls folk conventions and let him get him to play, because he played neat old stuff, this old electric guitar. And we'd haul his stuff there and sit him down. He'd be playing, and he'd go, all of a sudden his voice would go a little gravelly. He said, I got a frog in my throat, and I got to bite the legs off. He'd go. And he's just a cool old guy. But anyway, people like that really made it real for me, too. And I'd been traveling all over the place. I'd gone from British Columbia to, across Canada, and then I lived in Ontario for a while. And so I came down to Cedar Falls from Ontario and flew down here a couple times and did the folk conventions and got reestablished with all my Cedar Fallopian friends. Mm-hmm. And, let's see.
Cedar Fallopian.
Yeah, I know. It's an old nickname. Not sorry. Well, Rush and me used to do the benefits for the women's clinics in Cedar Falls, and we were the only guys that all the girls over there liked, because we helped out. They didn't like all the guys that much. Anyway, different times. Always been behind the women's movement. So, anyway. What else? I think Dubuque, bringing it back to this area.
Yeah.
I just love it. The hills and the driftless valleys, the driftless zone. The driftless region is where the glaciers didn't scrape us flat. And I studied geology and archaeology and stuff too. And during that whole time, I was writing magazine articles with this older lady that was from Wisconsin, and her and I kind of teamed up. She was a great writer, and she wrote books and stuff. And we wrote feature articles for this magazine called Wisconsin West. Mm-hmm. It was, I don't know if it's still going or not, but we did feature beautiful articles with color pictures and elaborate stories about, let's see, wolves coming back, the Baraboo Circus World Museum, the Mississippi River Revival, eagles coming from the brink of extinction. Let's see, articles like that, feature-length articles. And so I got to become a magazine writer, Actually
cool.
Got some credentials.
Didn't know that
doing
either.
Full-length articles, and you can still find them. So I learned a lot by doing that kind of thing, and putting my heart into whatever I'm writing or sharing with people. It's real for me, and I want to share just good, real things with people, because the world is messed up enough without adding to that,
Yeah.
I believe that good things can still come out of everybody, because we're not all that different, and the troubling times you see today between people, it's just the way it is, in a lot of ways. People
it doesn't
feel
have to
different.
be, though.
It doesn't have to be, no. I
really
think
doesn't.
people can just get it together and go, well, okay, let's accept some change here and just deal with it. And
people have disagreed forever, though, and it's never. I don't know. I shouldn't say it's never been this tumultuous, but I don't know. It seems over the top bad.
Yeah.
For me, because I've never seen it like that.
Well, a lot of people haven't, but that's just something we have to deal with as a nation and as a people, because it's just no fun. I see it making a lot of people bitter and sour to each other, and it just isn't right. I mean,
it isn't right.
I've had cousins get mad at me because, and I go, this isn't worth it. I still love you people. It doesn't. I got to get beyond the uptightness and the that somebody else knows better all the time. No,
Yeah, exactly.
You got to share opinions, and opinions are only go so far, but we don't have to shred that topic that much.
No, that's true. It's just I just commented on it because and social media makes it far worse. I mean, everybody's got
it's a given,
a soapbox to
it's
speak from, and it's ignorant. After a while, like it's just what.
Well, I don't try to add to the ignorance right now anymore.
Yeah, same here.
I really try to cut down on all the, and there's always humor. There's always humor and pointing out the
That's
obvious
true.
and make it better. I mean, make it better. If you're feeling squirrely about something, just make it better.
Yeah.
There's always a way to just turn things around and dissolve those hard feelings. And I don't know. I've been at it so long that trying to focus what I do in amongst everybody else's creative and musical journeys or whatever it is, writing, and I just want to do a good thing while I'm alive. I mean, I've lost so many friends and outlived so many people now that I miss them. I tell you what, I go to tears a lot because I do miss people that I've lost a lot. I mean, my folks are gone, my sister's gone. I mean, a lot of people gone. My best friends, a lot of my best friends.
Yeah.
And it gets you. Gets me because I got a big heart, I guess. Not enlarged, but it's big.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I have a lot of passion
Yeah.
in me. I can't help that. It's the music. The music just brings out the soul in you, and it makes it all real if you got that. And
It sure does, man.
I really feel good about what I can still do. But I've been beat up, I mean, just like this January, I got frostbite in my hands and my feet, and I was working outside too long and 50 below weather, and I getting firewood, and I got hurt. I had to go into emergency and deal with frostbite.
Wow, this past January?
January, yeah.
Wow.
And that's why I'm hobbling around with a walker right now. I'm getting over it, and I'm getting through it. I'm working it out, but it's not an easy thing. It's just been a tough phase for me, trying to get walking again.
Yeah,
right.
I feel
and,
that, for sure.
I've never been this way. I've always been a pretty active guy and tried to stay healthy. But your body does wear as you go through time, and there's just no way around it. But I'm going to beat it no matter what.
Yeah, good.
I've beaten diabetes type 2 a lot by eating healthy, and you might see me with the Guinness right here, but I haven't even had a sip on it. But the thing is, I quit drinking in November 19 because I got a DUI here in Dubuque up on the highway there, and it was just time to lay off the drinking.
Sure.
And it's nice, and Dubuque loves to drink. I realize, and a lot of places, the whole country does. But
Yeah, that's
the thing
true.
is, it's not the best thing for me anymore. It's my nemesis. But I like a good beer. It loosens up the kidneys, and
Yeah.
But I really don't.
Occasional
overdo
Guinness
it.
won't hurt,
I don't
I'm
do
sure.
it. Overdo it anymore.
Yeah.
All this leads me to just what I'm doing now, which is hanging out with you guys. And the guy back over there, he's one of my best friends. I tell you what,
Yep.
he's done more for this area in his arts.
Yep.
And I admire all the people that I know that are incredible artists.
That's Dean
whether
Wellman
it's-
for y'all watching at home.
Yes, that's Dean now.
The co-host, really, because he comes up in every fucking episode, but he's never seen. He'll be seeing one of these days.
Oh, he's that.
He's going to be
handsome-
on a
he's
future
that
episode.
Handsome lad over there on the
Sure.
other side of the room. But no, when I had the radio show, I got to meet a lot of great people that I hadn't met,
Yeah.
and I going, man, this is great. It opened up a lot of doors.
Absolutely.
And, I first met Rick there. He'd come in and play drums with us at the Jimmy B's jams and stuff, and
That's
it would
how I
get-
started hearing about you guys.
it
is
would
through
get
my
him
brother.
over his stage fright. I always give him a hard time because he's a great drummer and he's just a great person too. And well, you guys,
Yeah,
I
just
mean,
ask him. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, he's phenomenal. He's the guy who fucking
well,
taught me how to play. So
I admire people that I've known and that are still around that are doing good things for not just this community but just the world in general. So
absolutely.
I've just seen this whole area go through a lot of transformations creatively and every other kind of way. And it's got an amazing, vibrant heart to it. This whole area, it's got great people, and
There's really nothing like it.
yeah, and there's lots of places to go and whatever, but this is what we got here, and I'm a river guy, and I love being by the Mississippi River. I grew up on the Iowa River in the middle of the state, and it's great too, I was the only kid out there in a 50-cent canoe going up and down the river when I was a kid, and I just love to do that. But I'm just saying that the Midwest is the country I come from is called the Midwest. Getting back to the record shop, putting the first Bob Dylan album on the shelf, he had just popped out, and I went to state speech contest once, a bunch of times, but a couple of times I took a couple Bob Dylan songs and read them as prose in front of the judges. One was "A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall," and the judges had never heard of Bob Dylan yet, because it was mid-'60s right there. And I said, "Who is this Mr. Dylan, Dennis?" And I go, "Well, it's Bob Dylan, and his name was Zimmerman." That I had to give a little history, but
Yeah.
it said these are songs that he's come up with now, and I think he's a great writer. And he just burst upon the scene back then when I was telling these judges about this guy. And anyway, the rest is history. But I stuck my toe in the door that way. I read and some other great poets and things, but I got straight ones at state speech contests as far as doing something in front of a crowd that I was green as a pool table and twice as square.
Ones is good, right? Straight ones, you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's and so yeah.
And how many instruments did you learn? Did you pick up along the way? Guitar,
Well,
fiddle.
that one guitar I was telling you about that I got from this kid that moved to Iowa Falls when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That was my first guitar, and I had that for a while. But then it became like hard to play, and I said I got to get something better than this. And so I eventually got a better guitar and harmonicas. And but when I got off traveling, I don't know, it was always guitar for the longest time. Learn how to play something.
Yeah.
When I planted trees in the mountains of British Columbia on a tree planting crew, I did the mountains of southern British Columbia and the mountain ranges there.
Yeah.
And I worked for the forestry and planted, the people I was with planted 250,000 Douglas firs babies up these mountain slopes. And I was in pretty good shape back then, but, a broadhead axe and a couple big bags of baby trees on your belt. And it was grueling work, but that was neat. Seeing that side of that kind of thing, knowing that these trees are going to be here unless there's, forest fire or something. But just being off there in the mountains away from any town, and you see the beauty of the nature around you, and you can hear the Bigfoots at night talking.
Is that right?
It's that kind of country. It's wild as can be.
Oh man, I bet.
But around the campfires there, I had played mandolin for a long time, and then somebody threw a fiddle at me once around the campfire, and they had a fiddle and nobody played it, and they handed it to me because I played mandolin and stuff. I said, "Well, they're the same notes, don't you?" I go, "Oh." Mandolin has frets and fiddle doesn't, obviously, but I started.
See,
playing,
that's not obvious to me.
I started playing fiddle then, and I tried it before years, but
right.
People are looking at me like, "How do you know how to do that?" It's like, and then I just kept playing that, and I don't know. Got one of my own or something, I can't remember, but I just picked up different instruments along the way. Slide guitar and how to do that, and fiddling. guitar and harmonica. I mean, that's gotten me by through everything. But
Singing. I mean,
yeah, singing. I had to learn how to write songs and make it sound like a song that I wanted to sing. And I taught myself piano and stuff too. I don't play much out, but I can play piano. And so I don't know, string bass. I got a string bass that I love thumping on at home and drag that out to the bluegrass every now and then. But I don't know. I just do whatever I can that comes natural to a fool. I say. But
ever get behind the drums, Denny?
Conga drums more than anything. Me and a pair of sticks. You might as well. I don't know. No, best left to other good drummers.
Fair enough.
I got rhythm, but speaking of drummers, I mean, you were asking me about Mississippi in the first years. It was Cricket Dave and Jay who I joined, and that was a great tight thing.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
Then
Amazing
Jay came and went a couple times, and with various injuries and whatever things were going on, and the amazing Jimmy Berg come to town out of a metal band out of over by the big cities there or something, and he'd been in metal. And here's this guy sitting on Cricket's porch with hair down to his ankles, and just fresh out of a metal band. And
that makes so much sense. I didn't know because when I met that guy, he was doing the open mic at the Lift or whatever years ago, and he was using double bass all the time for like Tom Waits songs, and I'm like,
Jimmy can do anything.
This guy's a metalhead for sure.
Yeah, but he can do anything. And
great guy. Obviously,
his training.
I know him well now, but I didn't know him at the time. I'm like, wow.
No,
anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Everybody loves Jimmy Berg, and we know all these great people, and he teamed up with Amanda, and what can I say? We know the coolest, what I feel is some of the greatest musicians I've ever met.
I would agree.
I know them everywhere, but this area is rife with just great people that way.
Yeah, it really is.
And we've been through a lot of different incarnations with that particular band, but we had, horn player, Bill, and different people, and all fine souls, and I think we made the best of it. So, aside from all that stuff, I mean, geez, I always just love roaming the hills and seeing the beauty of the countryside, and right now I can't climb hills like I used to, and hunt arrowheads and whatever. But
well, shit. Who among us can after a while?
Yeah. But I can still chip a mean arrowhead, and
I bet.
The rest is just me keeping a wood pile together for the winter. It's not getting any easier for me, but what the heck? I'm pretty hardy, and I don't quit easy.
Well,
what else should we talk about?
I wanted to, I shouldn't say we've run out of time, but we're past the hour. Before we go anywhere, though, I wanted to at least give you the opportunity to talk about this. I know the Grateful Dead has always played a big role in your influences in your life, and you got this gig coming up with Addison, who's been on the show before. He's friend of the podcast, and
I used to party with Addie's mother before she had him.
Yeah, Melanie, she's great people.
Yeah, well, we go way back, but let's see. Addison came along, and what a cute baby. Anyway,
don't give him a big head. Jesus
I know,
Christ.
Well, I don't worry about him. He's just a good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
The whole history of the Grateful Dead, that was near and dear to me right from the first record.
Right.
Once it became a colorful phase of my existence when I met the Grateful Dead. As far as not just the first album, listening to it
okay, I got you.
On the music and the slabs and the records. But when I traveled, I went out west, and the first time I ever saw the Dead live was in Denver, and Pigpen was still alive, and the original Grateful Dead was what I saw.
Yeah.
And they'd play 6-hour shows. They'd come out and do 2.5 hours of acoustic music, and then they'd come back and blow everybody away with another bunch of hours of killer electric music.
Right.
And I thought, boy, these guys, I was sold right from the start.
Amazing.
But before that, even out of high school, I'd hitchhike down to Des Moines with one of my high school buddies to Des Moines to see Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah, awesome.
Which blew my mind because
Yeah.
there comes Neil Young out in his long tassels and leather, and what a great band Buffalo
Oh, my
Springfield
God, yeah,
was. And
so good.
He came out singing Mr. Soul, and
Mm-hmm.
I was sold right from the first note. Well, all that affects you and makes you determine that I want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, I can rattle on for hours about all this stuff, but I do love it, and I'll put my heart and soul into music. And but the Grateful Dead, okay, it's a good example because so much different music, and it's all American-based, real music that is as rich as you can get. And
It's true, yeah.
it went through a lot of let's say extraterrestrial phases of things, but. I got to meet the Dead numbers of times. Vancouver was the one memorable one where I walked into the Pacific National Exhibition out in Vancouver, and I had a freshly built guitar, then acoustic guitar. This guy, Bruce Sexauer, out there in that area, built me one, and beautiful guitar, and I had it, and I had to work my way into the Dead concert. This is just a short story here. And I got done with the chore, which was handing out leaflets in the parking lot. And I got in there, collected my guitar, and I really had to go to the bathroom. And I went and asked the stagehand where I could go. He says, go down the hall there and take that first door to the right. So I did. I walked in there, and there's Jerry Garcia sitting by himself practicing guitar.
No shit. Wow.
And I walked in with my guitar case, and I knew who it was, of course, but I was walking cross-legged, and I set my guitar down in front of Jerry Garcia, and had my name and pictures on it and stickers and all this stuff. I said, I'm just here to go to the bathroom, and he said, yeah, no problem. And he's looking at me, and I did that, and then come back, and he's looking at me, and I said, yeah, I don't mean to bother you or anything. But this is a special moment for me. I said, wow, meeting you, and then whatever. And he says, what you got in the case? Jerry says to me. I said, and I told him it was a hand-built fresh acoustic guitar built by my friend for me. And he said, well, let's see it. So I got to get it out and hand it to Jerry Garcia, my guitar.
Wow.
And he put down his guitar that he was practicing on, and picked up my guitar and just started playing it. And then I just couldn't get it out of his hands. It was great.
What a feeling that
loved
was, I
it.
bet.
He loved it. I'm watching him play my guitar.
Yeah.
And then just like that. I mean, there's more to that story, believe me.
Yeah.
I've had some very special moments that really put me over the top as far as my appreciation for other great musicians and good people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and I'm sure I could talk your leg off for another hour, but I'll shut up if you want me to.
No,
but
we're not like on a time limit necessarily, but
let's one more little topic, one more little thing to close it off with. Or
okay. Well, since I brought up the Dead, you do have that show coming up on a Friday, which sadly I'm going to miss because I will be out of town seeing Metallica for my first time.
Well, that's cool too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But tell me what I'm going to miss. What can
Okay.
the people that are going to come down to the Smokestack on Friday, August 9th?
This Friday.
Yeah,
August 9th.
what can they expect?
That was the day Jerry died, and it's called, from the 1st of August to the 9th, they call it the days in between, which is where, Jerry is born, Jerry died, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a great man. I've never known anybody like him, and, that's why he's so highly revered, because he was so together always. He was always on point most of the time. I mean, he had his ragged times, too, but... I grew up playing a lot of that different kind of music with bands or on my own, and the great songs, great songwriting. Robert Hunter and Jerry and all those guys wrote great songs.
Yeah.
Bobby Weir and on and on. Well, the point being that that music never dies for me, and I think those songs are just great, even if you change them around and do them different ways. But well, Ricky called me recently, and I did it last year by myself down on this very stage, and did every Grateful Dead and Jerry Garcia song I knew. it's only so much time. But
Right.
yeah, so Addison and I are going to do that this Friday, 7-ish, and
Excuse me.
because I retain all those songs and I love to do them. And Addie's a good picker, and he's got a good, solid foundation in his
he's
head
got a
too.
head
And
for it,
so
too.
I trust him. And I said we don't have to make it overly complicated or anything, but so we're going to do just a lot of Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead type songs. We can pick and choose them as we go. But
Awesome.
I love doing that kind of thing, and it's all to celebrate the life of a good man
Yeah.
that I got to meet, and I got to meet a lot of great people. I stood next to Bob Dylan for the Rolling Thunder Review once in the lobby of the Harbor Castle Hotel in Toronto after the
Wow, really?
Rolling Thunder Review. You know, I got to party with all those people: Joni Baez, Joni Mitchell, Ramblin' Jack Elliott.
That Rolling Thunder Review
Gordon
is one of my
Lightfoot,
favorite eras of Dylan, too.
Geez, what a great time!
I bet.
And I don't know, some miraculous little miracle. I got to be in the right place at the right time on a lot of these things. So.
No. I'm thankful you were here today with me.
Yeah, thanks
a
for
lot,
even
man.
asking, and I appreciate it. And I love to ramble about these stories because,
Well, I mean, fuck, we could have you back anytime, you know?
yeah, well,
We'll give it a couple of episodes first, but
I got more to talk about. And thanks, whoever's listening out there. Love you all, and you know me. And
what else you got coming up? Anything you got besides the show on Friday? What else? Any solo shows?
This week
Mississippi?
this week is quite a thing. Well, okay, let me revert back to Saturday. We played at Knickers with the Mississippi band.
Okay.
Had a full house. Sunday we had the second Mud Lake Bluegrass Festival with my buddy Frank Rishi come up with from Nashville with this guy we had last year, big tall string bean of a fellow named Greg Gehring, just a great performer, just a really unique cat. You know, this
sounds awesome.
tall, skinny guy that just plays the heck out of the guitar and sings like nobody's business. He used to be the fiddler for Jimmy Martin too, but.
Wow.
And then they brought Mark Edelstein on stand-up bass, who used to be with Special Consensus. And so the three of them pulled off the whole show out to Mud Lake this last Sunday. And I got up and did a couple with them. And then our good friend Heather Gypsy, she got up and did a few too. And she's just a great gal. And she sings like nobody's business. And so we're all good friends here. And well, then there's, let's see, I had a day of rest yesterday. Let's see, Tuesday is this thing we're doing right now.
That's today.
And tomorrow I'm going to be in the window at Jubeck's Brewery down there at 11th and Iowa.
Oh, excellent.
For their
Okay.
big celebration from, they're doing 4 to 10 or something. And I'll be there for, 3 and some of those hours tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Thursday I'm with Scott Cornwell and Chucky Lewis down there at the night market here over in the Mill District. On Thursday night, I'm going to play fiddle with those guys Thursday evening. And Friday, I'm here with Addison for the Jerry Garcia Grateful Dead type music. And
Mississippi back here in October-ish, from what I understand. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, we're all over the place right now. We'll be at the Hilltop soon on the 17th, and I don't know. We just keep at it, you know.
Yeah, good.
Oh, the Mississippi thing came about a few years ago, and they said, "Denny, you want to play our 50-year anniversary with us?" Because I stuck it out longer than a lot of the other side people did over the years. And,
Right.
So yeah, that was 2022 was 50-year mark from 72 to then. See,
Yeah.
and I said, "Yeah, I'll play with you guys as long as there's no weirdnesses anymore." I said, "No, let's have some fun," and that was what that was a few years ago now.
Yeah.
And we just kept playing ever since. So I think
Weirdness
we're
free.
enjoying it, and we're still okay. And I'm a little gibbled up. I don't let it stop me from playing. Got to play sitting down, you know. But anyway, that's all I have to say.
Good, man. Well, that's a good time to wrap it up. Denny, it's been a pleasure. Thanks
you.
for being on. I love
Thank
you,
you
man.
so
It's
much.
always great to see you.
I appreciate it all.
Denny and Addie this Friday on the 9th. Jerry Garcia's birthday. Or is it birthday?
That was his death, actually.
Death
He was
day.
born on August 1st.
Okay. Glimmer Blinken Show, which is me and my brothers and my sister-in-law. It's basically the Eagle Family Band reunion show on the 23rd. We got blues jams every Wednesday. Thursday is open mic, jazz open mic. First Fridays every first Friday of the month. All ages open mic first Sundays of every month. It's smokestackdbq.com. You can keep yourself informed. This was fun, man. Thanks again.
I appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
It's fun for me to tell stories like that because that's where my brain is at. I mean, I got stories, and
yeah,
I could always elaborate, but thanks, you guys, for including me in the mix.
Well, shit, yeah. We'll do a part 2 one of these days soon.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Denny.
All right. Adios.
Adios. Later, guys. Cheers, man. I'm empty, but there it is.
Well, that was pretty painless, wasn't it?
Yeah. I didn't even get this.